How would you feel if you knew 2 killer interview questions which will turn the interview process upside down to your advantage and give you a clear roadmap for your post-interview communication and job negotiation strategy? Well, in this lesson, you'll learn the answers plus how to get a copy of the Magic Interview Strategy, which includes additional killer interview questions for you to ask and, very important, more tips on how you can have rock-solid confidence when you go for your interview. Welcome, Happily Employed Rockstar. I'm Robert with themagiccoverletter.com, and you are in the right place to learn the secrets to getting a better job. Click the red subscribe button and the bell so that you will not be the last person to know when I post another video. Killer interview question number 1. What kind of an employee will make your job easy? Now, you might be thinking, wow, what kind of question is that? This question, and the next one I'm going to give you here in just a second, are designed specifically to help you elicit their values. And you've got to do this with everybody that you interview as part of the process. Now, here is a magic key that's going to apply to most of the other questions you're going to learn in this lesson, as well as the ones that are in the Magic Interview Strategy, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. Don't settle for the first answer. So when you ask that question, what kind of employee would make your job easy, you've got to keep probing, because it's often the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th thing that they say is really what's going to be important to them. So you're going to keep digging. And what else? And what else? Is there anything you want to add? What else is going to make your job easy? And you're going to just write like mad, because what you are doing now is you're capturing the values that this person holds that they would like to see the employee in this role do. That gives you a huge advantage, not only now in the interview because of what you can do with that, which I'll talk about in a second, but in your post-interview communication and follow-up, you can refer back to these. Here's magic tip, magic key, magic whatever, number 2. Some of the answers they're going to give you are going to be too vague or too general to be really that helpful to you. So for example, if somebody says they want someone in this role that's going to make their job easy who is a hard worker, well, what does that mean? Everybody has their own definition in their mind of what it means to be a hard worker. So you have got to find out what their exact criteria are, their rules for what it means to be a hard worker. So you want to follow up with a question that's designed to elicit that criteria, and it goes something like this. If I'm making your job easy for you as a hard worker, what am I doing? How am I behaving? What are you seeing that lets you know I'm being really successful as a hard worker? Right like mad, okay? They're going to start telling you things. We're going for their criteria. We're trying to learn what's important to them. And you may have already guessed it. In this process of eliciting their criteria, which is kind of the second phase. So the first phase, we're getting the values, right? The second phase, we're getting their criteria, their rules for what it means to be a hard worker, or whatever their value is. There may be some answers that are a little vague. Like they might say, well, being a hard worker means you show up with a can-do attitude. Well, what does that mean? And so you want to elicit that, maybe a little more clarity around that. But you also want to keep asking, is there anything else? Is there anything else that in your mind means to be a hard worker? It's going to give you a really powerful key that I'll talk about in just a second. What's your biggest challenge when preparing for an interview? I would love to read your answers in the comments below. Magic, magic, magic key number 3, and this is a big one. If you're willing, through this process, we're going to shift your mindset. Most people come into the job interview like this. Oh, great employer! Please review my qualifications and decide if I am a good fit for the job or not. Right? That's how I used to do it. Until I discovered what really makes a shift, and that is this particular question that I ask myself. Who knows my gifts, skills, qualifications better than anybody? Is it the prospective employer or is it me? Easy answer, right? I do. They don't know it, but I know it. And so my goal becomes now to go in and find out, is this job a good fit for what I am able to do? You want to go into this process with the mindset that you're going to interview them. That is really the big key. You're going in to interview them. That takes a lot of pressure off of you because you're going in to find out is this job going to be a good fit for me? Killer interview question number 2 that's going to continue to turn the interview process upside down to your advantage. And here it is. Imagine it's 1 year from now, and you are completely satisfied with the job that I have been doing in this position. What has happened that has caused you to feel so satisfied? Is there anything else? Anything else you want to add? What else would cause you to feel totally and completely satisfied with the job I've been doing? You're going to just capture and keep asking and keep asking and keep digging and keep digging. And guess what? You're going to get some of the answers that are going to be a little too vague. You know, like, you're a team player. You've been a good team player, right? Well, what does that mean? You're going to want to dig. So you could say something like, hey, it's a year from now, and you're really satisfied with the way I've been behaving as a team player. What have I been doing that's caused you to be totally satisfied with my behavior as a team player? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Okay, so you've asked your 2 killer interview questions. You've taken notes. You've elicited their values and their criteria and their rules. You can use that now in the interview. You can use it in your post-interview communication. So you're writing them back, thanking them for interviewing you, and you're bringing in the highlights that meet their criteria, their values. You're talking about it in the language they used. This is incredibly powerful. And just the fact that you asked these questions and took the notes and dug deep sets you apart from most of every other candidate. Most candidates aren't going to do that, aren't going to go to that level of depth. So that creates an advantage for you in the kind of impression you leave for them, as well as in your post-interview communication. But here is really the massive power in this, and that is, if you've gone through the process, you did the matching, magic cover letter matching up of evidence to the job criteria, you probably have a pretty good idea already whether you can do this job. Now you've dug deep into all of their criteria, and you now feel like, wow, I know I can do this job. Here's what you can do at the interview. Ready for this? You can simply say to them, since I can do everything you've listed, when can I start? Boom! You have just blown up the interview process completely. And no matter where the conversation goes from there, you're clear about what it is the job requires and that you have the ability to do it. And that kind of confidence and that kind of certainty is going to make a huge difference in how you're viewed as a candidate and what happens next in the process. One final quick big benefit I want to share with you about using this process, and that's this. You will now have a clear roadmap to your first 90 days on the job, your first 6 months on the job, your first year on the job, because you've dug deep. You've got all their criteria. You've got it all listed out, what needs to happen in that first year. And so now you can just map that out, and boom, the first day on the job, you're going all out. One more thing. What if there are even more killer interview questions that you can use that will give you an advantage? Well, there are. And you can get them by simply going to www.themagiccoverletter.com/interview boom and download your copy right now. The link is also in the description. And until next time, unleash your big dreams by asking yourself this powerful question: what if it's possible now?